All right.
Vegas, you want to do the introduction?
Sure. So, welcome everyone. And today is Sunday, June. What is the date today? 18, 17. And it's June 17th, actually, Father's Day. So, happy Father's Day to all the fathers and also to even people that don't have children. They're a father too. They might have a dog, they might have a cat. They're a father to a furry little animal. So, happy Father's Day to you too.
They're a father too. They might have a
And
dog.
we're happy to get together on Father's Day, and we'll keep it short because of the fact that, people need to wind down their weekend and they've actually taken a break from some of their family functions to come on here tonight just for a quick chat on the stocks. So, we just can't get away from this business. Like, we just love it that much that we will leave the barbecue to just come on here and talk for a little bit. So, we're happy whoever is here tonight. We're very grateful you're here. And thank you so much for giving us some of your time tonight to talk about some stocks. And Jim's going to chart them up. I'm going to talk just a little bit of ones that I'm looking at. Some of them might sound familiar to you because we've actually traded some of these before, but you always hear the word rinse and repeat. And if the setup is there, you got to trade it, or you have to consider trading it because the chart's just so too delicious to like overlook. So, with that in mind, also mentioning that Jim has already recorded a watch list that you can watch on YouTube, and he's posted the link. You can watch it later on. It's a bit of a separate watch list than the one we're going to talk about right now. So if your hour here tonight's not enough, you're welcome to watch that video too. So, very good information that he talks about. As you know, Jim's the chartist artist, and till this day, best in the business. So, um, I would love to start with Jim if we can.
Yep.
Let's start with this stock called CYH.
And also, if you can, will you type them in the room?
Yes, I'll type it in and you can chart it. So we're gonna talk about we're in the channel class in session. CYH is the first ticker.
And I will also give my, if I see something about any tickers that I like about it or something, I'll also give my little short
Yeah,
opinion.
I'd love to hear your comments too on the charts and what you see because everyone sees things differently sometimes. So
Or the same.
or the same. So it's nice to hear other traders' view and opinions. And we all can learn from each other, and that's what makes it a collaboration and a team. So on CYH, what do I see there? I'll just wait for you to put the chart up when you have a chance. I was looking at the daily on Friday.
Go ahead. I'll
Okay,
talk about it and then I'll post.
right. So this particular chart is of interest to me. It's called Community Health System. And the reason I like it a lot is that this chart is so ready for a breakout or an expansion. This chart has had phenomenal support at the 50 day. It's also had an inside day. And an inside day, for those that don't know, is what Geo talks about a lot in the room. He talks about stocks that have a higher low and a lower high, sometimes even than the previous day, or sometimes it's happening during the day. So this stock is so bullish, it's actually found a bottom. So when I look at this chart, and I'm just gonna, it closed at 441. And let me just pull up the chart here for me because I'm not looking at it there. Here we are. So this chart, I actually see this going at least, I would like to say six, potential of like $6 with some volume. So this is a beautiful setup. If you look at the very bottom of the chart, you'll see that it has found the bottom, and those green bars on the bottom are starting, the buyers are back. This particular stock also had, I just want to look at the volume for 1 second. Okay. So this also had a serious volume surge on Friday. And that's kind of what also caught my attention because I noticed a lot of the buying was happening at the very end of the day before the close, but at the very end of the day, a lot of volume came in. So the volume was about 4.77 million. The average volume on this stock is 2.18 million. So this is a stress-free trade to even buy it as a swing. And I don't really anticipate you having to swing this too long. But my target on this one, my first target, I'm going to say is 5. And then I'd like to see it go to 6. But I am going to hold it for 6. I currently do not have a position on this. I will look to purchase this tomorrow, uh, either under the high of day, or if it pulls back, I'm not going to. It's not going to matter to me. If it pulls back, I'm going to take advantage of it because the weekly spells money. There's like this chart's ready to go. So, in my opinion, this is a really nice stress-free trade. You don't have to wait for any alerts like, oh, you can buy this. I mean, if it actually breaks high of day tomorrow, which it very well could, you can take an entry at 444 and then just day trade it and exit. You know, maybe take it exit at 5. You could even go up 20 cents and then exit. I can't not predict where it's going tomorrow. All I can tell you is that based on this chart weekly, it's really a beautiful setup for a swing, and it looks great. So it's definitely a stress-free trade.
Okay.
And
Well,
it could show up on the scanner too, so I don't know.
and we do play off the scanner in the morning, so that's something to. This is just a watch list of ideas that we're going to have next week. But what I like about the CYH right now is that you see on that top chart, that green line is the 50-day SMA. And
Mm-hmm.
last week it bounced twice off that support level of 426. So if there's any kind of little bitty pullback, that would be a good entry level to get in. Also, it could touch up to the 200-day SMA, which is at 507. So maybe, and it hit that last month and bounced on down and corrected itself. Kind of had a little roller coaster ride and started bouncing back up. So I see the same thing she sees. I'm not going to predict $6, which I could, but I definitely see it staying in that channel right there between the 50-day SMA and the 200-day SMA. And this is also in the healthcare sector. Okay.
Right. Mm-hmm. So just, and I've just put a note of that one here because it could show up. I mean, I don't know. We don't know what's going to pop on the scanner. These are some ideas that we have. And it could be also a continuation. Don't forget, when there's a volume surge, sometimes, and a lot of buyers on a tape at the end of the day, sometimes, that could signal some news coming. There could also be a continuation. I'm actually looking for a continuation on this particular stock tomorrow. So hence why my interest in taking a position tomorrow. But I'm not in a rush. Like, I'm not going to be jumping on this first thing in the morning. Like, I want to see what happens at the open, and I'll wait and see what happens. And then when I actually take a position, or I'm going to take one, I will share it in real time in the room. So those of you that are not here will be alerted. But again, as you guys know, we usually, I mean, I really try to alert people on ideas way before it triggers. I mean, I actually heard a really good trader from another room. He was talking on the weekend, and he was talking about how he's actually heard a lot of different rooms that he's been in before, and how they alert after they're in. And he says, you know what, that's not an alert. Telling people you're in trade is not an alert. You have to tell people before so that they can get in it, because telling them after results in those poor traders probably not getting filled at a reasonable price, or at a price close to where you got in, and it's not fair for those traders. So I really liked what he said, because that's so true. And that is why a lot of times you'll see that a lot of us, most of us here, almost I can say everybody really, really says idea and the price before it even prints on the tape. Now, unfortunately, on occasion, there will happen where it just moves way too fast. Okay, it goes parabolic, where we can't alert. So, like, by the time we try to type it, it's already jumped to like 50 cents. So, those are like odd ones. But in general, like 99.9%, I really feel that everyone here really tries to alert people so they have a chance to fill an order, and place a limit order, and not be buying at the ask and chasing a stock. So, really great job from everyone, and I'm really loving that. Okay, so Jim, let's look at glue.
Okay.
Yes, words, exactly. You know what, on day trades, very hard to do any due diligence. I don't do any due diligence on day trades. There's no time for that, because I don't care what the company does. I care about the price, I care about the chart, I care about the volume. I'm not an investor when you're a day trader, so you just go in and you're out. If I have to start doing due diligence on day trades, I won't even be able to get in the trade. So due diligence, very important for sure. If you're going to swing trade something, or you're going to maybe go heavy on a position, for sure you better do due diligence of your own. Or if someone shares what they've done, you need to also really do your own, because you know what, it is your money. So you should really like spend the time at least reading the information on this ticker. Okay, so Jim, let's look at glue.
Glue, this is a 3-year chart on glue right now. As you can tell, we got a bowl, BOWL,
Mm.
and we hit a hard resistance there at 647, so I'll let you take it from here.
Okay, so glue is um, definitely, the bulls are in charge here. The stock is definitely at a new 52-week high, keeps making higher highs on a regular basis. The stock is on an uptrend, so it's definitely going to be overbought for quite some time. It is so bullish. It keeps closing the 52-week high. The only thing I didn't really like on Friday's daily is that there was a doji candlestick from where the stock opened and closed, which meant that sometimes there was an indecision between the bulls and the bears. But I have to tell you, the doji looks like the bulls are in charge here. So I do actually am going to predict at this point, based on where glue is at the moment, that the next price target on glue is heading for $7. So glue is probably going to be on the scanners, because it has come up on a regular basis. So glue is really looking good here. Even if you're not in glue, you may like to, and those of you, I know people don't want to day trade. Sometimes it's too stressful. So you know what? Glue is great to consider for yourself to purchase at a price that you're comfortable with. I like it here at the 640s. I personally have a core position in glue. I've had one from just under $4. So I'm taking glue for a lot higher than seven. Probably going to, but I've been holding glue for like already like um, I think almost 8 months. But that's because I'm an investor in this company. So I wasn't looking to buy it and flip it, but I do trade on my around my core. So I will look to buy glue for day trade as well. And when I do, I will share it. But I'm just sharing the fact that this is a very bullish chart. It's fantastic setup, beautiful setup for a swing. And Jim, what are your thoughts on this beautiful chart?
Okay, now I'm going to take it in a different perspective. I'm
Okay.
going to look at it as a day trade
Yes.
or a trade, one that wants to get in it that's not in it yet. So she's right. This thing can go to 7 easily. Um, 670 would be my next resistance. We're at 642 right now. And if you see any kind of pullback on this, it would come back down to that, I would say around 580, 589. I posted that in this chart. That yellow line right there, that's a pivot point. So that'd be an oversold area. And on the top chart, I have the 50-day and the 200-day SMA. And then I use the same SMA on the second chart, which is a 5-day window. And you see how it bounces off that 50-day all the way up there all 5 days long. So if that thing touches down to that 50-day level, you have an opportunity to maybe get in it.
So if it pulls back to 580, it's a very nice entry.
Yeah.
If it does pull back there, I will say that the option traders from this room have glue calls for $6, and they're doing very well. So congratulations to the option traders. They're doing such a great job in this room. So
But
I
it
gotta tell you, I've heard so many 100% option trades happening here.
but
It's just insane. I just can't even keep up because options for me is new, and it's new for a lot of people. But we have some really good option traders here, like Hawkeyes and Mr. Cotter. They've been really alerting some phenomenal setups.
it
So good job
it
and
could bounce
congratulations.
it could bounce off that 634. I'm just saying that 580 something is a real oversold area. But if it does knife and dips down there, that'd be nice. But it could snug up next to that 634. But
Okay.
it's bullish still.
Yes, very bullish. Okay, on to the next. Jim, this is one of your favorites, and I think it's one of mine too. But it popped on my list when I was doing some research on charts. So,
Okay.
I just want to tell everyone I don't actually pick these picks
Oh,
because I want them. I was just going through some scans and some like criteria based on volume and 50-day, and I was looking at MACD crossovers, and I was looking at any higher low, lower highs. I was looking for support on the weekly. So what are your? Let's look at APRN. APRN's back
oh
again.
yeah, that's on my
Blue
watch
Apron.
list. Yep.
Is it? Okay. So maybe you want to talk about that one, but that one came up on my list again because I spotted on Thursday, actually, even last week, the whole week, this stock has been in a range contraction. And anytime a stock's in a range contraction, to me, it's ready for expansion. And I think right now, the way Blue Apron's looking, it really is looking very bullish and on a not short, like not something for a day trade. Like it's not a trade you're going to buy tomorrow and expect a move on it. This is one where if you were to consider buying this, it's actually not that expensive. It's at 303. Um, this is for a swing trade. So this, you'd have potential multi-week hold on Apron if you're not in Blue Apron. And Jim, what are your thoughts on this? Because you have it on your watch list.
Yeah. Apron, if it pulls back any at all, 290 would be a great entry on Apron. 290. Now we have a channel between 290 and 341, and it's been like that for the last ever since 518. And I'm in this stock at $2. I called it at $2. Vegas also called it. We were hot on it back at $2. And so if it pulls back to that 290 level, that'd be a great entry to get in. And we'll play this channel, and we want it to run up to. We're still in this long. I think the news just keeps coming and coming and coming. And it's one stock that I've held for what? How long? We've held this thing for over almost 2 months
Oh,
now.
you've had this for almost 2 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm still in it. I'm not worried about it. It's come down to this 290 level in a year's.
Hmm.
As you see that year's chart, I drew a bottom perspective of 290 entry with a channel of 341. We think it can hit that 200 SMA easy and go up to $5 by the end of the year. 4, then 5. But we're at 303 right now, and that'd be a good opportunity to maybe start a position.
Hmm. Well, I've just made a note there because this is another one where it's a slow grind.
Very slow grind.
Blue Apron, yeah. I mean, this is not going to be Grand Slam. I'm buying it now. It's going to run tomorrow or in a couple days. This is a multi-week hold, multi-weeks. I'm going to say weeks because it could be 2 weeks, 3 weeks. So if you're looking for something to just put some money in and just keep an eye on it, you don't have to micromanage your trade. If you know your target, like Jim talked about his target, he's been holding a core position and he knows he wants, maybe the next one he wants is the 340s or $4 and maybe five. He's not babysitting his trade. He's in it and he's waiting for his target. And I'm doing the same thing. So when I buy these ones, I just leave them alone. And when they pull back, I don't panic. I mean, I look at them and I'm like, oh yeah, okay, it's pulled back. I'm in the red. Let me maybe take advantage of the dip and I'll average down. But I don't always average down, and I don't recommend either that people do that. You shouldn't always do that. I know some really good traders, famous traders actually, that have actually said to me, never average down. Whatever you bought, that's your position. If you want to put money into something, put it into a new position somewhere else. You don't need to average down on the position you have. So that was just their opinion. Everyone has a different way, different style, but I was actually quite um, surprised that some of those more popular traders will not average down ever. So that was quite interesting. And as a matter of fact, if you guys remember Adam Koo, I interviewed him, and he said he never averages down. And he's one of those traders that can average down and just doesn't. He just holds his position. So, okay, so that was Blue Apron. And if anyone has a stock they want us to look at, yes, please post in the room. So, Jim, let's take a look at S for Sprint.
Which
And
one?
then we'll look at,
S?
yes, S for Sprint.
S for Sprint.
Yes.
And write down KD. Where's my pen at? Oh, shoot, I don't have a pen. I'll be right back. I got to get me a pen.
Okay. So while he gets that, okay, and then we'll go to me. Okay, so while we're waiting backwards, I just want to talk about meat for a sec. So MEET, if you guys recall, ex Wall Street CFO, he also came on Voice last week, and he'll be on again this week. I have him on. I'll be having him come speak weekly. Uh, but Meat is a very heavy into social media, and the stock pulled back a little from what it was earlier in the week. But you know what? It's a very good stock. Love the company. Love where they're going. They have so many future PRs coming, so many launches coming in Europe. And in my opinion, like they're like a miniature Facebook. I mean, I think this company is so undervalued. So meat is got a lot more meat, MEAT, and meat available on it. Um, if you're looking for something that you'd like to buy and hold, I don't anticipate having to hold that stock forever. I actually think there's a lot of potential for this particular stock in the coming sessions. When I say coming sessions, in my opinion, I think it's in the next couple of weeks. We should start seeing some more activity on the stock. I don't actually believe it's going to take months and months and months and months for that to move. I think in the next definitely a couple of weeks, we should start seeing this starting to climb. And I believe that people are accumulating the stock at these levels. So, Words, I don't know if you're in it. I think you said that you did take a position. So I think you're in good shape. Just, you know what, the stock, the setup's there. This actually also was on Investors Business Daily's recommended list of stocks that they liked under five. And I really like their their stocks that they actually highlight. And this is one of them that they did highlight as one that they liked, that their analysts liked, and coincidentally, we liked it too. So it
Okay,
was just validation.
here goes S on the. Let's talk about S. Go ahead,
Okay,
Vegas.
okay, so S is Sprint, really nice volume. Closed at 549. High of day was 551. Opened at 540. The stock here on Sprint, what I like about it when I was charting it, I'm just gonna look at it again because I have my own little notes that I did. Okay, so what I liked about Sprint was that there was support on Friday's chart at the 50-day moving average. Also, the stock is overbought, and I'm basing this on the stochastics indicator of the 1433, which is a sideways movement. So this could go either way, meaning it could pull back or it could continue. I will say, my opinion, this is going to continue. It's very strong. The um, the stock did close above the upper Bollinger Bands, which I like a lot, and the um, Bollinger Bands are walking. So I love that. And the stock just has been going up and up and up every single day. So Brent, I never thought I'd say this, is actually on the right track to being a sprinter. So Sprint's going to sprint. So this is another one that's going to wake up. Now, sometimes, we talk about these scanners and these tickers, and we're like, why isn't it on the scanner? Why isn't it on the scanner? Sometimes it depends on the momentum of the, like that minute, like the 1 minute, the 5 minute, and the scanner sometimes couldn't care less that there's people buying the stock and it's not going to alert us because it doesn't care. It's like, you know what? There's other ones that are having more volume than Sprint. So it's going to alert those ones first. So I'm just bringing this up just because for those of you that are looking for a trade, Sprint is another really good one that has a really nice bullish setup for a swing trade. And let me just see where this could go on Sprint. So I would like to see this go first to 580, and then I'd like to see this go to 660. So I'd like to see a nice dollar juicy trade on Sprint.
Okay, I see also what she sees. It bouncing off the 50 SMA at around. Let me see here. That 50 SMA was around 543. So I think it's on a continuation up. If it pulls back any, it'll only be a small 10 cents. I have a low support at 509. I see it going up to the 200-day SMA easily at 596 to 601. And then for some reason I got an old, I don't know what that's doing. What's that doing up there? But I got me an old support, which I'm going to take off at 630. So it's probably oversold.
Okay. So target. So and when we talk about these targets, like when I talk about a swing target, like when we're in a day trade, I'm gonna try to give some more targets on voice when I'm in a trade, but everyone has a different exit strategy. So I mean, when I do swing trades and I give a price target, that doesn't mean you need to hold it for that target. Maybe you're happy. I've said this before. Maybe you're happy with 10 cents profit, which is maybe 10% for you or 20%. whatever you're happy with, that's what you close at. We always want more, but that doesn't mean you got to hold. And some people can't keep holding. They need to close, take their profits, and then go into another trade. And that's nothing wrong with it. I know a scalper that's done that for like 6 months and he made a lot of good money. And he scalped trades, and that's all he did was scalp, 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 scalp. Never swing traded anything. And if he did, very rarely. And he's done well. So you do what's good for you. I like swings because I don't have to babysit them and I just sit back and I wait. And when the money finally starts to come in, it's like sometimes you're like, oh my gosh, finally. And it's very rewarding to know that patience does pay. So it really, really is a nice trade off because day trading momentum is exciting and it gives us the rush. You heard the other day, Leo closed one of his trades because he was bored. I mean, I sometimes close a trade because I'm bored too. So, but because we're momentum, we need excitement. We need that rush. But that doesn't mean that we're crazy traders because we're not. We just love we love the thrill of the trade, and we like to get in on a good setup. So swing trades help also keep us grounded and slow me down because it helps me think. It makes me do some due diligence. And, Leo does a lot of swing trades too. So this helps to change the pace and helps to tame us because we get a little excited sometimes on our trades and gets crazy in here. So, but a good crazy, a good crazy. So we have a lot of fun. So sprint is another good one, and it's definitely going to sprint. You heard it. So that is easy, easy money for a trade, for a continuation, for a swing idea. Okay. So let's see.
It's, there's
V,
something
sorry, go ahead, Jim.
there was something that came up Friday on Galt that I just found out on the news. So
Oh,
let's look at the news on Galt. It looks like someone resigned and they replaced him.
okay.
And
I
I'm like,
actually read somewhere that Galt is going to go to $10.
well, maybe we might get a pullback now for a little bit off this news. So
Hmm.
let's keep it on watch next week, and that's going to be Galt. It
Yeah, so I
says
just want to mention about Galt. Geo's mentioned VSTM. So I just want to talk about the two of them because they're both clinical stage biotechs, Galt and VSTM. And heading into next week, um,
VSAR, you mean, or
no, VSTM. I think Geo just typed that one, VSTM.
no?
Oh, no, he said VSAR. Whoops. Okay, never mind. I thought he said VSTM. Okay. So, anyways, Galt is obviously a clinical stage biotech. They are definitely gearing up for a healthy move, like Galt for sure. And this is going to happen quite soon. It's definitely a great buy. And part of the reason that the stock is going to move higher is that the company Galt is actually a small cap biotech and they are into carbohydrate technology that targets the galactin proteins, um, which obviously they are one of the few companies, according to the research that was printed by the Motley Fool recently. Earlier this evening, they talked about how the company helps to treat the severe form of fatty liver disease, which is, as you hear, it's called NASH. And they're one of the only companies that are doing that. So the stock is set to heat up because they are, in part, because of their progression into a pivotal stage trial. And the main reason as well is that there is a growing potential for a lucrative licensing deal for this drug called GRMD02. Okay. And, or listen to this, could be a potential acquisition of the company. And if either one happens, you know what that means. The stock is potentially going to go up, obviously. Why wouldn't it if there's an acquisition or if there's a lucrative licensing deal for the drug? Okay, now Galt, and I'll wrap this up in a sec about Galt, but I just have to mention this. Galt did release an 8K last month, and they did outline how certain executives might be eligible to receive, and I'm going to quote this, a transaction or acquisition bonus that constitutes up to a maximum of, get ready for this, I hope you're sitting down because I've never heard this, 300% of their annual salary if a deal comes to fruition. And that was noted in the 8K. Okay? So if a move like this happens, it makes strategic sense for Galt because the company obviously doesn't have the financial capital to bear the entire expense of this major stage trial that they're doing with this GRMD02. And now it seems that is the right time for them to potentially have some sort of licensing deal or an acquisition of the company. And potentially there might be an interest from a heavy hitter like Bristol Myers Squibb. So you must keep this under radar, Galt. And you notice how much it's moved in the last few weeks. Like the last 3 weeks, this thing's really moved. I think it's moved like $2, $3. So very easily, I see this for sure going into tens. I personally don't have shares in Galt. I will be looking to add, and I'm going to actually sit and wait because if this acquisition or licensing deal triggers, I could see easily $5 going up. I say these numbers, sometimes the people think it's crazy, but like I've said crazy things like that Goose was going to get crazy, and I predicted a move of like $10, and it happened. And I said the same thing with Hua, that it's 100% stock, and it went exceeded the 100. So, just because I say these things doesn't always mean it's going to happen, but sometimes I look beyond the chart. I look at what is the potential if all these things lined up and happened, what can happen with the stock. So that's where I get these numbers from. Has nothing to do with the chart. It has to do with what I think the news will do and how people might react. So that's, how I come up with these numbers.
Okay,
Okay.
we got 20 minutes left. Now,
Okay. So that was my
my
2 cents.
my two
It's like
cents. I'm
really juicy information.
I'm very bullish on Galt, but also I'm going to put out there that this last news that came out on Friday of a CEO resigning may have put a little fear in a few traders. So we could see a small pullback for a great entry. And it did the same thing that I predicted last week. We had a small pullback and then we broke out, and it was just probably one of my best picks last week on the video I did for the watch list. So if you see any,
Jim, so who resigned? The CEO resigned?
yeah,
Are you sure? On
yeah,
Galt?
yeah.
Wow. Where's that news?
6:15, Gatlin
Hmm.
Therapeutics earlier 8K shows President CEO Peter Tabor resigned.
No,
Harold
I have here that they have a new CEO.
uh,
So yes. So what happened?
Harold Shevin Harold Shilvin new
Yes.
replacement.
Yes. Okay. The COO was appointed CEO to succeed Peter Traber, who had resigned as the CMO, and the transition would be effective July 6th.
So that'll put just a little bit of fear in some of the weak traders, but the ones that know that this stock is bullish will buy on the dip if it dips.
Yeah. So the COO is now. So what they announced actually 12, which was last week, they announced that the COO is now the CEO, and he is and president to succeed the gentleman that resigned as president and CEO and CMO. So this Harold is taking over. So and he'll be taking over as of July the 6th. Okay.
And one of them charts I
So
posted there at the bottom is a 5-year chart, so that can give you.
yeah. So that's a beautiful guys. If you can look into that, not right this second, but maybe tomorrow we can look at some Galt options. I think we should look at some option strikes on some. What did Galt close at, Jim? 875.
Yeah, but like I
So we
said,
could look.
like I
Yeah.
said, we still might see a little pullback, and it might be a better entry for an option. I'd wait a day or two.
Mm-hmm.
before buying them.
Well, I might want to look at a weekly, but we'll definitely for sure check. We're just going to look at some ideas, some option ideas,
Yep.
but we don't
And
have
it
to look
did
at them now.
it did bounce. I mean, still bounced up above close after hours. It closed at it cosed at 575, and after hours it hit I mean 875, and it went to 885. So it's still
Okay.
very bullish.
So that looks great. Galt's my favorite so far of the night. Who else has a stock? So Geo says VSAR. Can we look at VSAR?
Yep.
Wonderful. So you look at VSAR. I'm going to pull it up here. You can post the chart. VSAR, Versartis. I do like Versartis because it's overbought. I think it's definitely going to continue. It's had a very sharp rally. I think it could also be very extended, could pull back, but it had a beautiful rally on that one. Let me just look at that volume on VSAR. So beautiful rally towards the end of the day. Look at that. Right before the close, they all came running in. Now, this stock, just so you know, has gone up 48% in the first week of June. It's had major growth between June 4th and June 5th specifically. And it's because it did enter into a merger agreement with Aerovive Biologics. On June 4th, there was news that triggered this move with the stock. But there's still buyers on the tape there. And they also are, um, the agreement they made with this company, it's a clinical stage biopharm company, which focuses on treatments of cancer and some fibrotic diseases. And the merger is going to definitely strengthen Versartis's pipeline. They currently have a drug called AVB S6500. It's in a phase 1 clinical trial, and they're going to expand the clinical with trials on various tumor types. And also, they want to initiate a trial in ovarian cancer in the second half of this year. The analysts are saying that this stock is a hold. Some analysts are saying in the next 12 months, this could be a $4 stock. And some analysts are recommending it as a hold or a buy. So just depends what you're looking for. But what do you see there on the Jim on the daily there?
You see what Geo posted in the room there.
Yep,
So
I read it. Yep,
okay,
you
and
see
then
the same. I see the same thing.
what I'm seeing is that it went past the 50-day SMA, which is at 163,
Mm-hmm.
and you got the 200, and you see the big that first chart there. You see how it had some major drama, so it's had almost a 3/4 of a year to consolidate. Now it's starting to bounce. Um, I see the 200 channel between the 163 and the 333, $3.03, which is the 200 SMA. So we're sitting right at a pivot point here at 250, and maybe if it pulls back any, if any at all, it'll go down to the around 215 or something like that. And I'm going to post that chart here in the room, but it's one to keep a good eye on. And I think we're going to create us a little channel here up to 333, and then we'll just
Okay.
and I'm going to go ahead and post this chart in the room.
And then Geo also mentioned that if it breaks $3, it does have a gap to fill as well. So look at Leo. He's sitting in that chair with his laptop. There you go with his little MacBook, watching and learning about listening to us talk about stocks. Good boy. resting, relaxing, drinking, and learning. What more do you want? Right? So I'm going to post the entry on here on VSAR and what we're looking at. So for those of you that like to get in on a pullback, Jim talked about a 215 would be a good spot. That doesn't mean you would need that you need to wait. You could, if you don't want to wait for a pullback, you could take a position at 251.
And I actually like 226, 230 even better. So type
Okay,
in
so
230 on that.
I'm gonna edit that.
Yeah.
I'll say pull back 226 to 230.
Yeah. Instead of
Okay,
215.
sure.
215 will be
So,
oversold.
okay, so pull back entry, if you can, if it pulls back around 226, 230, that's a good spot. But I certainly like the break of the 245. Resistance one is 250, resistance number two is 265, and then 276. So depending where you get in, those are different exit targets that you can
David, I'm
choose
going to
for
mute you
yourself.
there.
Okay, so that's great. So we're good with VSAR. Anyone else that we need to do, Jen?
Let's look back up above there and see if there's ones that someone mentioned in the room that we didn't.
Oh, Florence wants, Swing Trader TX wants KDMN.
Okay, let's look at that one.
Yeah, and then GLBS,
That's
KDMN. We'll
K.
look at from
Would you
Swing
type that
Trader.
back in the room again?
Yeah, I will right now. KDMN's next, and I'll look at the technicals on that one. KDMN.
Well, we've got 10 minutes left.
Okay. And just so people understand, like sometimes when we're talking about charts, I try not to talk too much chart jargon. I mean, we can be very technical if we want to, but I have to recognize, and I really do consider and understand, and so does Jim. There's a lot of new people too that are learning, and they're starting to understand terms like 50-day, 200-day, but sometimes like you just need to understand like basic lingo. So we're trying to keep it simple so that people can follow and people can understand. The worst thing is to talk about all this technical term that may not make sense to you. Sometimes we have to talk that way in certain during the day because I need to explain the chart pattern, and we'll try to explain what the patterns mean when we call them out. But when we're talking about charts, like I try to keep it simple so that people don't get disconnected. Okay. So KDMN. Well, short term looks good, but let me tell you, the chart the volume was decent. It did have resistance though on the 50-day, and it stalled at the 200-day. So there's a lot of resistance here. It looks pretty, like it looks bearish, but that doesn't mean it may not change tomorrow. But I'd like to look what I see here on the daily from Friday. I see like a inverted hammer at the close. So I'm gonna wait for Jim to post that chart there. See what he sees there.
Yeah, I'm looking at it.
Which one's this one? KGO, which one are you talking? We're talking about KDMN right now. Jim's gonna post the chart on KDMN, and Florence will get to Fred. And next we'll do Fred, and then we have to do the one for we're going to talk about one more after that. We got to talk about the one for Mr. PNR. He mentioned GLBS. Okay.
Are we cutting it off at 9?
Yeah.
Chen, man, how are you?
Hello, by the way. I'm good. How are you?
I don't even have to look. I know it's your voice.
Welcome, my friend.
Welcome, welcome. We know you're working, my friend.
I got this also recorded, Mr. Chan, man. It'll be on YouTube, and I'll send it to you.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Oh, you're welcome. Okay, so KDMN, Jim, what do you see there?
Well, I see kind of like what you said. We're having a little pivot point right here at the 200 and the 50-day SMA are kind of meeting up and giving a kissy kissy. So I see around a 379 pivot point, and that's about right where we close at 380. So it could
Mm-hmm.
go, it could pull back. You'd have a low support maybe around 348, 349 to 350 something. So it, it's one to keep a good eye on, and that's about what I see. And there's my chart there.
Mm-hmm.
So it could, it could break that, hit it, bounce in between that, and if we see a golden cross, or if that 50-day moves down lower under the 200-day, we could see a correction to 350.
Okay.
And
So we're
that
just gonna
350,
watch
that
this one.
350, that 350 is a solid support on the yearly.
Okay.
Then I'm gonna post a
So
post
so
another.
this one for now, just to watch it for now. I like the big nice volume bar that I see there, but I want to see some support at the at least at the 50-day. It has resistance there. So I do want to see the support there before considering even a swing trade on this particular um, chart. Now, let's see here. This one here
They also
looks,
got some news. He said here, the swing trader did.
yeah, there is, it's a good, like, I think it's a good swing. Um, I mean, me personally, I like it, but I'm not going to add this until I see a break of 396. That's kind of where I would like to add. I don't want to take it until I see that.
Chan Man, did you
So,
have one we wanted to look at?
and they closed an offering of 113.2 million. So, Florence wants Fred. Literally. Florence, you know what I meant. She doesn't want Fred. She just wants to look at Fred, the stock.
Quit looking at Fred, Florence.
Yeah, keep looking at Fred. He wants you to look at Jim.
There for a while, I've had negative sentiment on Fred, but I've noticed it has bounced a little bit in this past week.
Okay, let's look at that one. Fred, let's look at Fred.
It's touched almost up to the 50-day SMA, so that's a good sign. And it's had the last week and a half, it has bounced off the 130 low.
Mm.
We're up 60.
Well, it's overbought as well. Fred's overbought. Uh, so I'd have to see what it does tomorrow. It looks like to me it was overbought. Um, so I need to wait and see what it does tomorrow because it's not sure what to do.
But it has had a nice little run here lately, and
Sure
that's
has.
why it's overbought.
Yeah. So,
And I'll chart it up here in a second. But that's
okay.
what I'm talking about, touching up that 50-day SMA.
All right. And PNR was asking about GLBS, Globus Maritime Limited. God, that chart oversold. Bearish everywhere. Kind of looks like the calm after the storm, actually, because it's had a significant range expansion and now it's having a range contraction. So I'm not too sure if this particular stock looks like it's going to exceed the range of the contraction bar. So I'd have to actually see, and it's actually at a 52-week closing low. Oh, that one's got to be on watch. But that's GLBS. Isn't GLBS one of the shippers, right? Shipping companies.
Oh yeah, keep.
So I got all the shippers on watch because, as you know, shippers is a theme, and it's not to be overlooked. And GLBS actually reported their earnings report not too long ago, a couple weeks ago, and I will say, excellent earnings, increased by 52%. That's not a small number. So their vessels are operating on a short-term, short-term target, and they finally made some money in the dry bulk market. There's a big demand for it. They have worldwide trade expectations, and they actually have growth in the first quarter of 2018. They were pleased to see the use of their vessels being used, and they're very optimistic on the dry bulk fundamentals. Okay, so that's really, really good to see that the company is making some money. So their cash is 2.1 versus 1.3 million, what they did last time. So looks okay.
I think it's
And
oversold.
they actually got I'm just trying to see here. They were allowed to continue being listed on NASDAQ because their grace period to regain compliance is until October 29, 2018. So you guys need to understand they're not meeting the $1 per share requirement. So they have received delisting notice, okay? But they intend to monitor the closing bid of their stock between now and October 29. And they are, I want to mention this, very important, and then we can move on. But they are considering options, including a potential reverse stock split.
Yes, I was going to say
in order to regain compliance, okay, with the NASDAQ Capital Markets minimum bid requirement, which is $1. So it might be, if they do, it would be $1 per share or higher for at least, they have to remain $1 per share for at least 10 consecutive business days during the grace period. If they don't, we might see a reverse split. Okay, so Jim, you were going to add to that too, right?
Yeah, I think we're going to get a little. It depends on the volume and the sediment, but she's right about when they get a announcement from, or get that letter, they like to use a reverse split or something to get that above $1 again. So it's a shaky stock, but yet it's still one to, kind of like Tops is, or Tops was. Now, they had a reverse split. It jumped up to $3. It sold off to 150 and then dipped down to 80, and I'm bullish on Tops again too at 107. So it could be a good little flipper swing trade, holding a small core position at this area.
So I'm gonna just tell you. So I'm not saying I don't like GLBS. Definitely keep it on watch because shipping's a hot sector. The earnings were great. They had a fantastic quarter. They're doing everything right. If they continue with this path, they have another quarter to report. So I hope that the next quarter they continue with the earnings being on the positive track. And if it does, I mean, that should really help them boost the stock, that they may not need to do the reverse split. I mean, the reverse split's just a contingency plan in case they don't meet the requirements that's required. But I think the fact that they've made earnings, shipping sector's hot, they should still be continuing to generate capital in the dry bulk market. So there's no reason why this stock should not continue to become stronger, and they probably will not need to do a reverse split. Again, I'm just going based on these earnings, and looks like the CEO is doing a really good job shaping the company. Excuse me. So I hope he just continues what he's doing, and the revenues, the money just keeps coming, that the capital will just be there and they'll be able to support the growth, and it'll reflect to shareholder value. So let's just keep this momentum going for good here.
Time's about running out, but we did talk about meat, and I'm going to post another little chart here. And I think any pullback on meat, let me see what this says here. I think it's 416 would be a good place to get in at if you're not in it.
Yeah. So I think we've done everyone's picks. I'm just scrolling through because it's such a small little group tonight. I just don't want to leave anyone out. I think I did everyone's pick. We've done, yeah. I got to everybody. Yeah.
So we wanted to keep this short and sweet to um, for an hour limit because it is Father's Day, and we want to give every father out there much love. And I'm not a father. I lost my little boy last year in October, and I was kind of saddened today. Little dog,
Yeah, but you were a dad to your little furry child.
yeah. And so he was the only
Yeah.
family I had, but I'm trying to get out of that rut. And
Yeah.
I know what it's like to. I've never had any kids, but I still appreciate the fathers out there as well as the mothers.
That's right. That's right.
Uh,
Well, sometimes I will say I know people that never had actually a good father figure, and they have like their actual family member or even like a family friend was a father figure for them. And that father figure was not really a father, like, he never had his own children. But you know what? That person was a father figure to so many people that, even if you're not a father, you could even be a father figure to someone that just really likes you and appreciates you and just loves you for who you are. So, sometimes that's what people, feel that you are to them. So just because you didn't actually have a child, that doesn't mean you're not a father figure to other people. So
oh yeah,
never
that's
think,
true.
so you, you touch people in different ways, Jim. So,
Yeah.
don't feel that you're missing out because you're not, because we love Jim. Everybody loves Jim. So,
And this
let's, what's that, Jim?
this also is recorded on YouTube, and I'll post the YouTube up on the
Oh,
in the room
yes.
here in a little bit after it processes.
Oh, yeah. And I also want to say,
So we're live.
yeah, I also want to say Hawkeyes. Sogo, we did buy some stocks of that on Friday, because it's in the new IPO sector, and also Billy is one that we've talked about as well, and it's an online video platform for children in China. So we are all over those IPOs. I mean, we've been in Hua, we've been in
Goose,
Sogo, we're in Goose. I mean, the Goose
IQ,
got loose, IQ, and then
here,
I.
here,
Here,
HEAR.
oh, and here, HEAR. I mean, just everything. And there's so many more like new ones to still continue to come out. So, I mean, it's just amazing how fast the move on some of these IPOs just shocks me. So now it's just like it's almost like sometimes I become immune to these IPOs. I'm like, oh, that one's going to move like $10 because it's just like it happens all the time. But you can't always think that way. You have to be careful because I've seen stocks that are below IPO price, and we've seen it
And,
that they're below the IPO price even today.
and we're
So doesn't mean because it's opens IPO, it's going to hold up all this time and keep going and going and become an Amazon. Got to be careful.
and
Take your profits.
and remember, everybody in this room's a team player, and we definitely appreciate everyone that puts any kind of sediment or helpful hints in the room that could help the Fireside Sunday watch list to even get better and better. And we know
That's
that
right.
the hours are sometimes mixed, and that's why we want to start it at 8 o'clock Eastern time every Sunday night, and we're going to try to limit it to an hour and a half at the most.
Right. And I think what I would like to see, and this week, is maybe we could have whoever's interested in us reviewing a chart. And by all means, this doesn't have to be Vegas and Jim talking. You are all welcome to come on voice and come and talk, come on here and ask a question. We want to make this an interactive chart watch list teamwork list, because it's not my watch list and it's certainly not Jim's. It's what we're seeing, but we want it to be your ideas too, because you're part of the group and part of the team, and maybe you have found a really good stock that we should be watching, and we'd love to add it to the list. So, we might start asking if you don't mind, maybe, and we'll send reminders. Maybe if you could send the idea of the ticker on Saturday, so we have some time maybe on Sunday to go through them. so that when we actually meet for the hour, we can bang them off and have the charts ready and, start just, talking about the stocks so that everyone's potential ticker gets looked at. Right, Jim?
Yep.
Okay. Well, I think that wraps up our chat tonight about these stocks that we're watching. And sometimes you always hear us say we could talk about 20 or 30 or 40 stocks. That doesn't always mean that what we talk about shows up on the scanner. Or surprisingly, you may hear quite a few of these show up tomorrow because different things trigger the scanner. News triggers scanners, right? Volume, news, breakout patterns, just so many things. So a PR. So who knows what tomorrow's going to bring. All I know is it's going to be Monday, and I'm so excited. I love Mondays. I don't know anyone that doesn't love Mondays that trade stocks. I know people that have a job full time and they don't even trade stocks because they don't even, like, they're just not interested, or they're scared. But I've heard them say, I hate going to work tomorrow. They're dreading it. And I'm thinking, oh my God, if they only knew how we all think. We just love going to work. Like, I miss going to work. Like, I wish I could trade stocks like at least 6 days a week. So that's when you know that you're passionate about what you do, you love it, you crave it, you think about it, you research it. What is there not to love? I mean, it's just so much fun. And, when you love it and you're learning and you're making money, why not? And it doesn't have to be big money. It could just be, $100 today or $80. But you know what? That money compounds and it adds up, and it really goes a long way for a lot of people. So I'm excited for tomorrow. I hope everyone here is excited for tomorrow. I want to make it a green day for everybody. And Jim, what do you have to say to close off tonight?
I posted the script for the watch list in the room that's on TOS, so anybody can take that and add it to their TOS. And I'll also be posting the watch list, and if anybody has anything they want to add to it throughout the week that's bullish. And we also are a room that plays off the scanner. So, when we pop in here in the morning, we play off the news in the morning. So that's another thing to keep in mind.
Right. Exactly. And sometimes the scanner things and says this over and over, and then the stock doesn't even move. It moves like 2 pennies, and it's like you'll notice sometimes just because the scanner says it, that doesn't mean we're trading it. We want to try to make sure that we go into ideas that are going to be moving. We don't want to go into ideas that don't move, and sometimes, unfortunately, they don't move, and it becomes boring, or we close the trade flat. So it does happen. It's normal. Not every trade's a home run, but I'll tell you one thing: we sure try. So we want everyone to be successful, right? Because
Yep.
we care about everyone doing well. It's actually no pleasure for me, to do okay, and for the room not to. I mean, I get more out of it, and so does Jim, and so does Leo. When I hear people here that say that they did great, or they had a really good trade, or they did an options trade and they made over 100%, or they made 20% or 10%. I mean, no bank in the world that I know gives you 10% in one day for your savings in the bank. So at least in the stock market world, you can get that. So
don't forget your stop losses. We hate to
absolutely, and
want,
position size.
yeah,
So
money management.
So on that note, we love everyone here, and happy Father's Day once again to everybody. And we look forward to seeing you all tomorrow morning. And good night to everybody. And thank you again for being part of this conversation tonight on our chart watch list for the week of June 18, for the morning of June 18, actually.
Yep. Thank you very much.
Bye. Oh, bye. Excuse me.
That's all right, Chan Man.
Gemma, is that you? Are you okay?
Yeah, I should be all right.
Okay, well, if we need to tell Hawkeyes, just dispatch 911. Just let her know she's got the hookups.